Adrian Newey has just revealed the upgrade that could either rescue Aston Martin's entire season, or prove that its most radical Formula One car was built on the wrong idea. The AMR26 was created on a brutally compressed timeline, reached the wind tunnel months later than many rivals, and has produced almost no points despite being described as one of Newey's boldest designs ever. Now Aston Martin is bringing a major Hungarian Grand Prix package with a new nose, heavily revised aerodynamic surfaces, a modified rear suspension, and significant weight reduction toward the minimum limit. Newey says the team expects a large step, but he refuses to reveal exact numbers because the simulation tools are still not fully trusted. That means this is more than an upgrade. It is the first real test of whether Newey's extreme concept can transform a car at the bottom of the standings into a genuine threat. And the most important change may not be the part everyone can see. Subscribe to the channel. To understand why this upgrade matters so much, you have to understand how difficult Aston Martin's starting point really was. Adrian Newey did not arrive with years to prepare. He joined Aston Martin in March of 2025, just as the team's new wind tunnel was becoming fully operational. That gave him roughly 10 months to help create an entirely new Formula One car. Not a simple evolution. Not a familiar machine with a few changes. A completely new car, built for one of the biggest regulation resets the sport has ever seen. And that pressure was made even worse by timing. Most rival teams began aerodynamic work as soon as the testing restrictions were lifted at the beginning of January. Aston Martin's model did not enter the wind tunnel until the middle of April. That delay may sound small. It was not. In Formula One, every week in the wind tunnel matters. Every test reveals something. Every result influences the next shape, the next surface, and the next decision. Imagine starting a long race after everyone else has already completed several laps. You are still allowed to compete, but every move must be faster, more accurate, and more ambitious. That is the situation Newey faced. He described the design process as happening on a very compressed timescale. And that phrase explains almost everything about the AMR26. The car was not created slowly. It was created under pressure. The rules were new. The tools were new. The team structure was changing. And the deadline refused to move. That is why the finished car looked so different. When it first appeared in private testing at Barcelona in late January, it was covered in an all-black camouflage livery. But the disguise could not hide the main ideas. The nose had a distinctive shape. The side pods were narrow and deeply undercut. The front suspension points sat unusually high. And the rear of the car immediately caught the attention of rival engineers. This was not Aston Martin trying to copy the safest concept on the grid. It was Newey trying to build a platform with room to grow. That difference is critical. Because a car can be fast on the first day and still become a dead end. It can arrive close to its maximum potential. Then every upgrade produces only a tiny improvement. Newey wanted the opposite. He wanted strong fundamentals. A car that might not begin fully optimized, but could become much stronger as the team learned how it worked. Think of it like building a house. You can create beautiful rooms immediately, but if the foundations are weak, there is nowhere left to expand. Newey focused on the foundations. The problem is that foundations do not score points by themselves. And that is where the pressure became brutal. The AMR26 looked bold. Experts praised the thinking behind it. Rivals noticed the unusual details. But the results did not match the attention. Aston Martin remained near the bottom of the standings. Fernando Alonso had only 1 point. Lance Stroll had none. That contrast created the central mystery around the entire project. How could a car designed by Adrian Newey look so advanced, yet deliver so little? The simple answer would be to blame one bad idea. But Newey's own explanation suggests the problem is much deeper. He did not design the car around one magical feature. He described the concept as comprehensive. The goal was not to create one extraordinary component. The goal was to make the entire system work together. That means the nose cannot be understood alone. The front wing cannot be understood alone. The suspension cannot be understood alone. The side pods, the floor, the rear suspension, and the active aerodynamic systems all depend on each other. If one section underperforms, the whole car can lose balance. Imagine a football team with talented players in every position, but no understanding between them. Individually, the pieces look impressive. Together, the performance feels confused. That may be what Aston Martin has been fighting. The ideas are present. The speed has not yet connected. And this is where the new upgrade becomes so important. Because this is not just another front wing. It is not a small adjustment made for one circuit. Newey confirmed that Aston Martin is preparing a new nose, substantially revised aerodynamic surfaces, a slightly changed rear suspension, and significant weight reduction. That is a large package. And every part appears connected to the same goal. Make the car easier to understand. Make the airflow more consistent. Make the platform lighter. And give both drivers something they can use with confidence. The front suspension will remain unchanged. That detail matters. It suggests Aston Martin still believes in the basic mechanical structure at the front. The team is not abandoning everything. It is trying to unlock the concept around it. That is a very different message from panic. Panic means throwing away the original idea. This upgrade appears to be an attempt to make the original idea finally work as intended. And the timing could not be more important. The package is targeted for the Hungarian Grand Prix, before the summer break. That gives Aston Martin one major opportunity to test whether the development direction is real. If the car improves clearly, the team gains belief. The drivers gain confidence. The engineers gain proof that the tools are beginning to match reality. But if the upgrade fails, the questions become much harder. Because this is the first major package created through Newey's developing process inside Aston Martin. This is where theory meets the track. And the track does not care about reputation. It does not care how beautiful the design looks. It does not care how respected the engineer is. The stopwatch gives one answer: fast enough, or not fast enough. That is why Newey's caution is so revealing. He said the team expects a large step, but he refused to attach exact numbers to it. Not because he lacks confidence. Because the simulation tools are still not as sophisticated, or as well correlated, as they need to be. Correlation is a simple idea. It means the computer must predict what the real car will do. If the simulation says a new part will gain performance, the track should confirm it. When those two things disagree, development becomes dangerous. The team may believe it has built an improvement. Then the driver reaches the circuit and feels something completely different. That is like using a weather forecast that is always slightly wrong. You can still make plans, but you never know whether to trust the next prediction. Aston Martin has been trying to improve that relationship between simulation and reality. And the Hungarian package will be one of the clearest tests yet. If the upgrade behaves as expected, the team gains more than lap time. It gains trust in its own tools. That trust allows faster development. It allows engineers to make bolder decisions. And it allows Newey's long-term philosophy to move forward. But if the package does not match the prediction, the problem becomes larger than one race. The team would have to question how it is designing, testing, and understanding the car. That is why the stakes are so high. This is not only about escaping the bottom of the standings. It is about proving that Aston Martin can turn Newey's ideas into reliable performance. And there is another layer. The AMR26 is Aston Martin's first car in a completely new works team era. The team now has a Honda power unit. It runs fully sustainable Aramco fuel. It has a new factory, a new wind tunnel, a new driver-in-the-loop simulator, and one of the most successful designers in Formula One history. On paper, the ingredients look extraordinary. But ingredients only matter when they work together. That is the same challenge facing the car. Newey's philosophy is holistic. The team's transformation must be holistic too. The engine, the chassis, the aerodynamics, the tools, the drivers, the leadership. Everything must connect. And right now, it has not connected strongly enough. That is why the power unit problem cannot be ignored. The source reports that the Honda engine may be the least powerful on the grid, with a deficit of around 50 kilowatts, or roughly 67 brake horsepower, compared with the strongest units. That is a huge number. And no aerodynamic upgrade can simply erase it. A brilliant car can reduce resistance. It can carry more speed through corners. It can protect the tires. But if the engine gives away too much power, every straight becomes a reminder. That creates another impossible challenge for Newey. He is not only trying to make the car generate more grip, he may also be trying to make it efficient enough to hide a major power deficit. That explains why the entire concept looks so extreme. The car cannot afford ordinary solutions. It needs to find performance in places other teams may not be looking. The suspension must help the aerodynamics. The packaging must reduce unnecessary losses. The nose and wing must guide the air with incredible precision. And the rear of the car must remain stable without creating too much resistance. Every detail carries extra weight. That is why the upcoming package is not only an upgrade. It is a survival test for the philosophy. Can Aston Martin create enough aerodynamic efficiency to reduce the engine disadvantage? Can the weight reduction improve every part of the lap? Can the new nose make the rest of the car work more consistently? And can the drivers finally reach the potential Newey believes is hidden inside the design? Those answers will not appear all at once. The first practice session may reveal one clue. Qualifying may reveal another. The race may expose something completely different. A car can look faster over one lap, then damage its tires over a full distance. It can feel better in slow corners, then lose stability at high speed. It can improve for Alonso and become more difficult for Stroll. That is why Newey's focus on both drivers matters. He said the car must be something Lance and Fernando can consistently maximize. Not occasionally. Consistently. That word is important. A fast car that only works inside a tiny window is dangerous. It may produce one impressive weekend, then disappear when the temperature changes. Newey wants a car with a wider operating range. A car that remains predictable. A car that can develop. A car that does not need perfect conditions to show its speed. And that may be the real purpose of the Hungarian upgrade. Not chasing one spectacular lap. Creating a machine the team can finally understand. Because once Aston Martin understands the car, the entire project changes. The engineers stop guessing. The drivers stop compensating. The upgrades begin connecting. And the radical design stops looking like an experiment. It starts looking like a foundation. But if the package fails, the opposite happens. Every unusual feature becomes a question. The bold suspension layout becomes a compromise. The distinctive nose becomes a wrong turn. The development potential becomes an excuse. And the team may be forced to admit that the car was not simply unfinished. It was fundamentally misplaced. That is why Hungary will matter far beyond one result.